Well, the holiday season is upon us, and Y2 Credit Solutions is here and sharing a little bit how you can protect your credit while spending with a joyful heart. We welcome now the founder, CEO, and credit specialist, Mr. Andy Suku, to the show, and good to have you.
Thank you.
First of all, it's hard to believe, right? Like next week we're talking about Thanksgiving, and then after Thanksgiving becomes the launch for Christmas. I just can't believe it.
I don't know where the time has been. It just flew by. It flew by.
Yeah.
I was just thinking the other day, what are my New Year resolution for 2016?
Right.
I haven't even fulfilled my resolution yet.
Right.
I'm still working on that, and now it's 2017 already. And one of them is debt, carry on my credit card balances and so forth. So like I'm always kind of constantly manage that and not carry it into the new year. But back to your question, I don't know where the time's going, man.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Well, let's talk about this here because now we know Black Friday is a little bit more than a week away, and people will engage in spending, but
Yes.
that's why you're here, because you will help us really to spend, but also to spend wisely. And if you're using credit, I just want to get some helpful tips out of people to really, keep them going. So,
Right.
so what do you recommend for us during this time?
Well, I mean, it's Christmas time, and we don't know what to get our siblings, our friends, or whatnot. So a lot of us steer towards gift cards. And one thing you want to realize with gift cards is that when you go into a store, these gift cards are all on a shelf, all on a rack. You just pick one up and buy it, load it up with money, give it as a present. Easiest present to give, right? What you don't realize is that this is the time when thieves actually go into the stores, write down all the gift card numbers, put them back on the rack. Now here comes a consumer, you pick the first one up, you load it up, and thieves know that consumers are not going to use the cards well past the holidays, right? They have all these gifts they have to go through and so forth. But little did you know that they're actually making phone purchases and online purchases with those cards. So one thing we want to tell consumers is if you're going to do a gift card present for someone, take a card from the middle or the back of the rack. Most cards have the numbers displayed. So, if it's displayed, obviously someone wrote it. It's easy for someone to write it down. Most cards also have a coding on the back, so you can scratch it out, the number's not displayed. So you want to get those cards. But if you go to like a CVS or a store that have cards and you see the number displayed, just ask the cashier for a new one or one from the stock, right?
That explains it, because there's one time I went out to dinner, and and I had a card. I went to give the guy the gift card. He said, "There's nothing on the card."
Right.
And I'm like, "What?"
Next you know, you'll have
thank God I have money, right?
Right. You have one angry Christmas customer, like, where's my money? But yeah, just be careful with the cards and where you're buying it from. But if the numbers are open and they're visible, just take one from the back or the middle, or ask the cashier for a new card, just to protect yourself.
Right. So everybody's got friends. It's hard during this time of year. You want to get something for every friend.
Right.
So this is where credit cards come in, and you find yourself putting a lot of money on credit cards.
That's a big issue within the last 3-4 years. These iPhones, these new gadgets, droids that comes out, they're not cheap. They're expensive, right? And we're all programmed that this is the season of giving, this is the time to spend. So we're all going to try to spend a little more. But the problem is, we shouldn't spend more than what we can pay off the next month. Not only is that going to hinder your credit score, but now you're carrying a balance into the new year, and you're paying interest on balance that you can't pay off, which is a waste of money.
Right.
So try to spend what you can afford and what you can pay off. Don't go over your budget. I know it's the Christmas season, and we want to give everyone the best present, and we want to make sure everyone's happy. But you got to keep in mind, next month when that bill comes, you could ding your credit score, and now you're having balances carrying over to the new year, and you're paying interest, which is a waste of money on interest.
One of the things that you propose is opening new lines of credit for when you talk about small savings.
Yes, department stores, and that's we all want savings. We go to the department stores, the cashier says you can save 15% on this purchase. Sounds all nice. Yes, 15% on $150 shoes, I'll save $15, fine. What you don't know is that those department stores charge the highest interest on those cards, right? So that's one. Two, if you carry that balance over to the next month, that little $15 you saved, you just gave it back to them because of the interest, and you're going to be paying more on top of that, right? So rule of thumb is try not to get into the offerings in the stores. Don't apply for the cards. You're not really saving any money, and that little bit of saving you think you're saving now is going to hurt you in the long run. It always happens, especially if you're not the type of person that carries balances on your cards every month. There's some consumers out there that pay, charge, pay, right off, right? If you're one of those customers that don't carry a balance, you'll notice the decrease in your credit score.
So a lot of people leave town, and during this holiday season, and one of the biggest things is when you leave town, you try to leave all your worries behind, but those bills don't go away.
I'll testify to that actually. funny story. I forgot to pay my insurance, and here I am getting ready to travel to hang out with my friends. I'm going on a 3-state travel trip, but make sure you pay those bills. So set them up on automatic payment. Don't leave your home without taking care of those bills. When I was here last time on the show, we mentioned that FICO score is 35% of your payment history. So that one late payment can ding your credit score. So want to make sure you have all your bills squared away before you leave. And you know, we understand traveling can be exhausting. It takes a lot of your sanity. You forget a lot of things. So just try to get into the habit of making sure you take care of all the bills before you leave.
And then personal information. You have to protect it during holiday shopping, and you say we should.
This is a big time. The season is where a lot of credit card fraud goes on, and scammers are able to get your information online. Depends on the website you're using. So you want to protect your information. If they get a hold of your bank account or your personal information, they can wipe out your bank account, rack up your credit cards. Next thing you know, 3-4 months later, you have collections calling you, default accounts on your credit report, your score is dropped, and you realize you're a victim of identity theft. So be careful of where you're purchasing online, where you're swiping your cards. A lot of these cards have chips, a little more secure than swiping. I recommend that you try to get your card into the chip process. But be careful where you're swiping, where you're purchasing at, and the sites that you're using. A lot of these sites have reviews. Read the review before you make that transaction.
So please make sure you do that. A lot of things going on through the holidays. And what's the biggest mistake we make?
It's just swiping, just not conscious thinking about what we're doing, just swiping. Everything looks good on a deal, right? But when you get that bill the next month, you're like, oh,
yeah,
it hits you, it reality hits you.
Yeah.
Just be careful, just look for deals, look for sales. There's a lot of sales online. Black Friday is coming up. You know, so shop smart, shop smart.
I think there's an old saying on Dora the Explorer, swiper, no swiping. So make sure you be careful as you're out there swiping, because certainly you got to pay for what you swipe for. Andy, that's what we got you here for.
Thank you
Thanks
so
a
much.
lot.
Appreciate it.
Of course, Andy will be joining us in the new year or before Christmas, helping us out to get us ready as we continue to go through the holiday season, and then let us know what we need to know come Christmas.